now, which we're live streaming throughout the division. So good morning, division. I wanted to. I was thinking about last night, and we're at a good place so far as a division, as a pilot office. We're just shy of where we wanted to be. We wanted to be at $50,000 by last night. We're at about $45,000. So we've got some big moves to make today, tomorrow, Monday, so we can have our 100K week, which I know we can do. We have like 130 appointments today, and we'll have more. A lot of the guys are getting on the phones this morning. So to have our first 100K week, so super excited about that. But as I talked to some of the representatives on our alliance, as I talked to some of the managers, throughout the division last night, some people just feeling like, man, I just keep getting knocked down, And I remembered a story that was shared with me back when I was a new rep and my manager was coaching me. And it really was something that helped me a lot in life. And it's pretty wild to think like, lessons I learned 13 years ago selling knives, and just like how they guided so many things in my life, from like my cousin passing away in 2006 and just being able to move forward, my sister 2 years ago in the middle of summer, and just how hard that was, different family things that have happened, and friends and family that are always just like, I don't know, and especially friends like, I don't know how you've gone through all this stuff. And like in July when we do a lot of the coaching that's more mental coaching, mental toughness versus skill sets that we're doing right now, I'll share a lot of those things, because there's definitely a lot of lessons that I learned, a lot of coaching, a lot that I've done over the past decade to really strengthen. Because my friends are like, do you like Superwoman? Like nothing phases you. I'm like, no, actually it sucks. But I've learned to always look for the lessons and everything. I've always learned to look for the strengthening and everything. And so this story is called, it's called Learning to Get Back Up. It said, bringing a giraffe into the world is a tall order. A baby giraffe falls 10 feet from its mother's womb and usually lands on its back. Within seconds, it rolls over and tucks its legs under its body. From this position, it considers the world for the first time and shakes off the last bits of birthing fluid from its eyes and ears. Then the mother giraffe rudely introduces its offspring to the reality of life. In his book, A View from the Zoo, Gary Richmond describes how a newborn giraffe learns its first lesson. The mother giraffe lowers her head long enough to take a quick look. Then she positions herself directly over her calf, waits for about a minute, and she does the most unreasonable thing. She swings her long pendulous leg outward and kicks her baby so that it sends it sprawling head over heels. When it doesn't get up, the violent process is repeated over and over again. The struggle to rise is momentous. The baby calf grows tired. The mother kicks it again to stimulate its efforts. Finally, the calf stands for the first time on its wobbly legs. Then the mother giraffe does the most remarkable thing. She kicks it off its feet again. Why? She wants it to remember how it got up. In the wild, baby giraffes must be able to get up as quickly as possible to stay with the herd, where there is safety. Lions, hyenas, leopards, and wild hunting dogs all enjoy young giraffes. And they'd get it too if the mother didn't teach her calf to get up quickly and get with it. The late Irving Stone understood this. He spent his lifetime studying greatness, writing novelized biographies of men such as Michelangelo, Vincent van Gogh, and Charles Darwin. Stone was once asked if he had found a thread that runs among the lives of all these exceptional people. He said, I write about people who sometime in their life have a vision or dream of something that should be accomplished, and they go to work. But they're beaten over the head, knocked down, vilified, and for years they get nowhere. But every time they're knocked down, they stand up. You cannot destroy these people. And at the end of their lives, they've accomplished some modest part of what they set out to do. And I remember hearing that once, and it really just resonated with me, because when you study and you look at so many of the biggest success stories, whether they be artists, whether they be athletes, whether they be millionaires, billionaires, successful business owners, they've all had, their struggles. They've all had the stuff that they've gone through. And it's so wild because people always look at it like, oh, they have everything perfect, and even yesterday, Mary Lou was saying, like, everyone's like, well, yeah, you're in the pilot with Kathy, like, obviously everything's going to be great. You guys are like national champs. Like, do you know how much, we go through? And we've gone through moving from Florida to here, going through everything here, and the struggle that it's been to get things moving. And yes, we're we're going to have a great playoffs. You know, we're going to have a great year. We're going for the national championship, but it doesn't come without, you know, all its struggle as well. But the thing is, we know how to get back up. We've been knocked down a gazillion times, so we know how to get back up. Where when newer managers, newer reps, they get knocked down, they're like, oh, I guess I'm not good at this, or I guess I can't, you know, stand very well, or whatever, versus like freaking keep going, like get stronger, get up, you know, remember how to do that, and really build that muscle so that you're able to accomplish anything that you do want. So I wanted to share that because I know that as I, you know, talked to people yesterday, as I was coaching people throughout the division yesterday evening, that was something that came up as I heard people talking. I just kept thinking about that story, and so I wanted to share it with everybody this morning. So we have this morning Mr. Dan Andrews. For anyone who does not know, Dan will be speaking at Summer Conference 1 in a week and a half, so you do not want to miss that. But he is a Hall of Fame member at our company, a very small percent of people that make it to the Hall of Fame, as well as Court of Honor as a manager and as a sales rep. One of the, I think the only people to do it on both levels. If there are more, it is less than a handful in the company's history. But he is going to share a lot of people know we have pots and pans. You know, they're like, I don't know anything about the pots and pans. So I'd asked them, I thought it'd be really beneficial to really help us add, you know, $500, $1,000, you know, plus. You know, could you add that to 20% of your orders, 30% of your orders, 40% of your orders, and really learning about the cookware. So he's going to share just some basics, foundations on just kind of cookware 101. I'll give you a chance to ask some questions as well. So bring up Mr. Dan Andrews.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is going to be a real fun. Yeah, that's my banana muffins.
Oh.
Breakfast. Yeah. If you don't recognize it, it's probably mine. This is going to be a real basic talk on cookware for one simple reason. Everybody that I think is listening to this talk does not have cookware samples, which is fine. You can still sell a lot of cookware without the samples. Sell a lot of cookware without even getting it out of my bag when I had a sample. But it's really just kind of an intro. That doesn't mean you're not going to know how to sell it. It means that we're going to teach you the limits of what you can probably accomplish until you actually have samples. So I appreciate those of you that got out of bed and got here. I appreciate those of you that woke up and logged on to the computer from around the division. I'm determined to help make the division the very, very best in all areas. And given that a accomplished cookware set has a CPO of $1,544, you got to admit, learning something about cookware will take you a long way. First thing I want to tell you real briefly, and I'll have to focus hard to be brief on this, is the history of the cookware. Most people don't realize this, but we were doing cookware for 50 years before we were doing knives. Alcoa Aluminum, which stands for the Aluminum Company of America, was incorporated in 1898, and they went to production in 1899 to make a line of high-quality aluminum-based cookware, and nobody was buying it. They were all used to cast iron skillets and tin tea kettles, and they couldn't get them to buy it off the store shelves, so they hired a bunch of college kids to ride around on horseback starting in 1901. To demonstrate and sell the cookware. Alcas was doing so well with the cookware, the salespeople said, we need to add something to it. Can you come up with some decent cutlery for us to sell? And Alcas, who knew the distribution model, got together with Case Pocket Knives, who understood the manufacturing model, and the name of our factory is Alcas, is the plant, A-L-C-A-S, Alcoa Case. And they made Cutco, which stands for the Cutting Utensil Company, as a brand name. And so people don't know that we have a college work student program that goes back over 100 years, but it does. And it's interesting to consider. So that's the super brief history of that. If y'all know the name Zig Ziglar, he started on the cookware side of things. And maybe some of the people watching it know it. You'd have to be my generation for that name to really mean a lot to you. Why cookware? Well, two reasons. Your reasons, bigger CPO. If you're going to win a lot of contests and win a lot of scholarships this summer, cookware is going to have to be part of it, I think. From the customer's perspective, why not? They're going to cook from now until they die or move into the nursing home. They might as well have some decent stuff to do it in. And that's fairly important to keep in mind. Why our cookware? Well, that's an even more important thing for me to talk about. But the fact is that our cookware is superior. It's weird for me to hold the brochure away from myself instead of toward myself, but I'll get the hang of this. our cookware superior in many, many respects. What you need to know is it is no longer made by us at our plant. It no longer carries the brand name wherever it carries the brand name Cutco, as you know, because the Cutco side of things got so big that that brand name actually carried the day. There are about 7 or 8 brand names that are constructed similarly, not identically, but similarly. There's only 3 plants. So it's interesting to ponder that all of those, yeah, there we go, the full-blown brochure. I was ransacking the place for that. It's important to know that there's more than one name, but they're all made of the same 3 plants on all basically the same blueprint. And what makes ours different is the pricing is actually considerably less than the other brands that do that, because they have to carry the whole weight of everything on the cookware. Their whole distribution model is based on the cookware. And so all the margins that they have to use to sustain the whole operation have to come out of the cookware. And we don't. We're with or without the cookware, we're doing just fine with the knives. But by adding the cookware, we can keep the prices lower because we don't need to drag a huge margin of profit in for the company on this. And but the other reason ours is superior, very simply, is that it's guaranteed forever. Okay. And this is, some bigger pictures, and I'll use some on this side here in a minute. We'll have a little fun with this. This is probably much better than the other one, so we'll get back to this in a minute. But all of the other brands of cookware that are called 5-ply, P-L-Y, or 7-ply, which is a misleading thing, are all, again, constructed very similarly. But we're the only one with a forever guarantee. They have lifetime warranties or limited lifetime warranties. It's not a bad concept, but the whole idea behind a forever guarantee is that, of course, the product can be handed down from generation to generation. And that's a fairly important part of everything that we talk about with this. For example, I haven't quite been able to coordinate the schedule yet, but I moved to Houston and started on some service calls. And one of the first people I called, they got a nice set of Cutco. I'm over there sharpening it. I'm looking in the kitchen sink, and there is some cookware that's constructed similarly, not ours, but the handles are broken and missing. And I'm like, so how long have you had that? She goes, I don't know, about 20 years. I'm like, that's not bad. Cookware for 20 years. I said, your handle's missing. She goes, yeah, I don't really know what to do about that. I said, well, if you had our cookware, when I came to sharpen your knives, I would show you how to get brand new handles put on that, stuff like that. She's like, oh, we need to get together on that. And so we just haven't gotten back for the cookware demo. But I really don't think I'll need to demo the cookware, just go through the price list at this stage of the game. But let's go back to this photo real quick and talk about the concept of what they call a 5-ply, or in some cases the 7. If I don't mention it in a minute, y'all help me remember. I need to explain what the 7 is and why it's a joke. It's really just 5, but they call it 7. Okay, aluminum is a great cooking surface. I don't know if y'all, a great cooking material. I don't know if y'all know why that's true. If any of y'all got any engineering or physics background, it conducts heat really, really well. Have you ever noticed that if you wrap tin foil around something that's warm, the foil is almost immediately hot? At the same time, you can cook something in the oven on tin foil, take it out of the oven, take the hot product off, and after a moment, you can pick up the foil because it absorbs the heat, but it gives it up very, very, very quickly. They found over time, most people are very, very uncomfortable with the idea of cooking on aluminum surfaces. The actual surface itself being aluminum can be a problem. And I want to make sure that I quote the facts very carefully. There's a lot of people that try to imply that cooking on aluminum gives you Alzheimer's disease. This is all they know about people that suffer from Alzheimer's. They have elevated levels of aluminum in their system, but they don't know whether one causes the other or not. That's just a fact. But most people are aware of that, and they're a little bit concerned about that. Non-stick surfaces are toxic, have been proven to be toxic. If somebody ever says to you about the Cutco kitchen tools, well, I couldn't use those because I've got non-stick cookware, I flinch. You're still using that? And they're like, yeah, why? I shouldn't be? I'm like, yeah, all the research says you shouldn't be. It'll kill you and your pets. And they're like, what? So I get out an article, and I can get copies of that for you guys if you want. I'll bring them to SC1. How's that sound? I'll get some handouts run off. And they're like, oh my God, well, what do I do about that? Well, hope your credit card's nearby. Might have to split it on the 2 credit cards. No, I'm kidding. But it's a value builder for me to say that. I joke. I do make jokes in my demo about the second mortgage program we have so you can afford your Cutco. And they chuckle, and I don't. And they're just like, right. But it's a value builder. Anyway, I may say something if they've already locked in on the knives when I get there. I may say something like, you know, but don't worry, we can use a separate credit card for that order. Because it's a value builder. You get it? They're like, right, how much is this stuff going to cost? Anyway, okay. So back to the little picture here. Aluminum is a great cooking material. It's not a great surface to cook on. So what we did is we put the aluminum in the middle. That's aluminum. The part that you cannot see is aluminum. The parts of the cookware that you can see, the lid, the outside of the pot, the inside of the pot, stainless steel, easy to clean, right? It's a big deal. So you got 3 layers of your sandwich right there. Stainless, aluminum in the core. What are the other 2 layers? You can't bond stainless directly to aluminum, so we have an alloy, a stainless aluminum alloy. So layer 1 is stainless, alloy, aluminum core, alloy, stainless. Is that making sense to you guys? The little cutaway. Yeah. The companies that call themselves 7-ply, they're counting the layer of adhesive. You wouldn't count the glue. If I told you I had a shoe that was made of 3 layers of leather in the sole, I wouldn't say, but 5 if you count the glue between the layers. What? They're counting the glue. You got to be kidding me. So 5-ply, they say 7-ply, just 5-ply. Same thing. It's made of the same plants. It's not a big deal. Okay, what are the benefits to the customer? Well, the great thing about aluminum is that you can cook on low heat, because not only is the pan aluminum, but the core of the whole product is aluminum. Meaning if it's 100 degrees on the bottom of the pan, it's 99.5 on the top of the lid. Carries the heat all the way through. All the way through. There's a lot of these brands that call themselves waterless cookware. I think you can mislead the customer, because I don't care how good your cookware is, you ain't going to fry an egg or cook rice without water in it, or boil spaghetti. But they said it was waterless. It's spaghetti, man. You got to put the water in. But it is, we use the phrase low moisture a lot. And why would that matter to the customer? This is a great thing you can do without even a single piece of cookware. Clear glass, tap water from the customer's kitchen. Soon to be their veggie peeler, right? Because you're going to sell it as their veggie peeler. Carrot from the kitchen. How do most people cook carrots on the stovetop? In a pan, right? With a lot of water. And when they're done cooking them, what do they do with the water? Y'all know how coffee's made? You take ground up vegetable matter, pour boiling water through it, and drink what comes out the other side. And the hot water's only in there for a few seconds, right? So if you take your carrot and you put it in boiling water, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you cook it and pour the water out, what'd you just pour down the drain? Everything that matters. If it's got flavor or color, it's got vitamins and nutrients. Cold water, not hot. That's what I was afraid of. On top of the cabinet in the kitchen, there's a box. Inside the box is a roll of paper towels. If one of you would be kind enough, that would be sweet. I didn't put my hand over it because my hand's not big enough, but apparently what I used isn't big enough either. So again, remove the carrots. And you can see that that water is orange. There's a few seconds in cold water. And if I had cleaned that carrot, I would drink that water because there's vitamins in it, but I didn't clean that carrot first, so it's not going to happen. It's a good thing we sent in for the paper towels, ain't it? Apparently Kathy needs one as well. I'm going to give her several of those. Pardon, while we take care of the mess. See, you should show up live for these things because Kathy just brought in cupcakes. And apparently not just cupcakes, but they look to be homemade to me, so that's pretty awesome.
It was my sister's birthday on Thursday, so
So it wasn't Kathy that brought them in. It was a Cutco wrap. There's a lesson for you. When you come for a workshop, bring food. On that note, if anybody wants one-on-one coaching, buy me lunch and I'm yours. Okay, back to the point. So if you can cook on low heat with no added water. In other words, if I cook carrots at my house in cookware, I don't add water. I chop the carrot, throw it in the pan. Whatever moisture is sticking to the carrot from when I washed it, that's all I need. That's it. You cook on low the whole time. Start it on medium until you can't rest your fingers on the lid. Turn the heat to low and just let it cook. It's astounding. Broccoli, cauliflower, squash, zucchini, all of that works like a champ. I don't add grease when I cook meat in a skillet. It's pretty intense. Quite a variety of pots and pans. Comes in 3 major combinations. You should have a cookware price list to go with it. I want to talk a little bit about these, by the way. The key is to not put too big a pan on the food, meaning the reason we make a variety of sizes is that it should work for the amount of food that you're cooking. You should be mostly full. The pan should be mostly full. You wouldn't put a little bit in a big pan. Too much room for too much moisture to escape. Because of that, by the way, I don't think you should just sell a set. You should start adding on extra 1 and 2 quart saucepans. Straight up. You know, my family, me and my wife, just the 2 of us, we've got a full set of cookware, an extra skillet, probably 4 or 5 1-quart saucepans. That has nothing to do with the fact that those used to be the sample pan and they were not very expensive when we bought them. Several of the 2 quarts, a couple of the 3s. I've got a customer in South Carolina. She had a Homemaker Plus 8 when I first called on her. I walked in the door. She says, I can't get everything, but do you want me to upgrade to that thing they call an ultimate? Or do you want me to get 12 sets of flatware? Or do you want me to get the cookware today? And I'm like, take your pick. I'll be back to sell the rest later. And I don't remember which visit she got the cookware, but she called me almost immediately after and said, I need another Dutch oven. I'm like, what'd you do the last one? She goes, nothing. I got 5 kids and I don't want to have to run the dishwasher in the middle of the day. I like to wait till the end of the day and just do it once. So I need another Dutch oven. I'm like, okay. So sell them multiples or, you know, some of the stuff. It's really positive. Okay. Want to talk to you. Yeah, I could get into a lot of the subtleties on the way that it's constructed as well, but I'll leave it alone at this point. There's some little thing on the screen and I need to just make it go away. I don't know how. So I do want to talk to you briefly about the pricing on it. Okay. Years ago, when I was a fairly new sales rep, the company asked the opinion of the top people. I couldn't have been too new because I fell in that category. And they said, do you want the prices to reflect full CPO or reduced CPO? And the consensus among salespeople that we were working with was that we would sell more of it if we reduced the CPO. Now, of course, you guys know that the knives are all built in with a few dollars shipping and handling. That's not a big deal, that the price and the CPO are a little bit different. The price and the CPO are significantly different on the cookware, which shouldn't phase you because, number one, you're already selling knives. So this is just an add-on. And number 2, we really do move a lot more of it because we didn't basically pad the price with a bunch of extra commission. Okay. For example, the full set of cookware, the biggest set, which doesn't even really include everything. There's a bunch of accessories that go with it, you know, that you can be added on as well. $22.55 is what the customer pays, but the CPO is calculated on $1,544. So crud, even if you're at 20%, you just made almost 310 bucks. You know, don't get too hung up on the fact that it's not full CPO. But because it's not full CPO, you almost never add anything free in along with it. The free stuff goes with the knives because we're trying to get them to get started with something today. And the cookware piece by piece is very pricey, but when they get in a set, they save a lot. And so I tell them, if they say, well, I just dropped $2 grand on knives and you gave me some free stuff, I'm dropping $2 grand on cookware, what's the deal there? And I'll show them. I say it's straightforward. You're saving so much in the set that basically we just took the free stuff out and made it as a cash discount. Meaning, if we wanted to give you a bunch of free stuff too, we'd have to charge $3,000 for that, and then throw you in a few $100s worth of free stuff. You're better off saving $800, don't you think? And they go, yeah, okay. So I just tell them that the free stuff is in the form of a cash discount when it comes to the cookware, so that they don't then go, 2,000 worth of knives equals this much free stuff. How come 2,000 worth of cookware doesn't? So I bring it up before they do, when I get to that. So you could still squeeze a little something in if you needed to, but I normally don't. One of the great things to give away would be the kitchen tool set. I think goes really well with that, if you haven't already worked it into the whatever other combination you're putting together on that. So anyway, get hold of your Cutco price list, cookware price list from your office manager. I'll have handouts of the article on the poisonous effects of nonstick cookware at SC1. It's not part of my talk. I think somebody's actually given a talk, but I'll bring handouts, and I'll ask Kathy to make sure she's got a stack of these as well for y'all to work with too. And I will pause here because I have 5 minutes left and see if anybody here has questions. And if you want to text me a question from out there in the great wide world, you can. Area code 803-361-6825. Hey. Nope, that's not a question. But dang, that was fast, let me tell you. That was Kathy announcing somebody just sold something. All right. Anyway, anybody out there, 803-361-6825, got a question, or the people in the room want to ask me a question? What's the last word again? 6825. 803-361-6825. I'm not a 24/7 Cutco rep or manager, so you're welcome to text me, identify who you are, what office you work at, and that you have a question. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anybody here with a question? Yes, no? Hang tight to SC1. I mean, you should be selling this stuff in the meantime anyway, but SC1, you're really going to learn some cool stuff, and I'll have to check with Kathy on what the requirements are to actually getting hold of a Cutco cookware sample. But when you've got one of those, you can do some damage as well. I usually bake, if I can work it out, if I've got enough time, I'll cook dinner for them at the house, and it kind of blows them away. And then to finish off, I'll bake a cake inside a saucepan on top of the stove without even putting it in the oven, just to show the conductive properties of the heat. And that makes their head hurt too. They're like, what? And then you pop it out of the pan and throw a Hershey bar on top of it and wait about 5 seconds and ice it with a spatula. And the 4-year-old is like, Mommy, we gotta get that. And you'll get that. It's amazing how much money the 4-year-olds convince the parents to spend. But it's a lot of fun on the demos. As a matter of fact, as a general rule, even if they know they're interested in cookware, I usually try to insist on cooking a meal because it totally locks it down. I tell them I get to stay and eat. They don't have to buy, but I get to stay and eat. I'm not going to cook them dinner and then have them kick me out. But it's good stuff. You should be proud of it. Call in if the customer has questions, because the managers and assistant managers here have a ton of information. They can help nail it down with no problem.
What's SC1?
Summer Conference 1. We should have about almost 300 people there. Invitation only. All the big stuff is, because there's a lot of expenses involved with that. It's Thursday, June 25th, so not that far away. A couple weeks from now, less than 2 weeks from now. I know what that is. You can ignore it. It's my personal phone. Somebody knows I'm giving a talk and they're trying to annoy me. Anyway, there it is. Yeah, it's like a 8-hour event, 11 to 7 or something like that day. SC1. But those will change your life, because you'll meet a lot of other top reps from other places. And you'll get to hear from a lot of people, not just me. But you should show up for my talk. It's a 2-hour talk, and I'm giving it in 20 minutes. The last time I gave it in 20 minutes, the 2 comments I got afterwards were, "This is the best talk I've ever heard, and I've been here 2 years, and I was going to quit until I heard your talk."
Okay.
And it's not a talk about staying. It's a talk about how to sell more blades. So it's pretty important. But a lot of what I say there will tie into cookware too, just so you know. in terms of overall principles. All right, I'm officially done.
Cool.
I'm not getting questions.
I
I'm
officially
not
brought
getting
this.
texts in.
Anyone
You
want a
officially brought
sausage and
this?
cheese?
Oh,
Just sausage and cheese. Thank you. Sausage and cheese. Sausage and cheese. Woo! All right, anyone else?
if there's one left, you better believe I need to eat, but we should
There's
pause
here.
this because they don't want to watch me eat.
All
Another
right.
reason to come to the office.
All right, so let me wrap this up. So I wanted to share one last quick thing, and we are going to roll. I'll put it up here on the TV. Oh, I got some water. Let's see. So hopefully you guys got some good stuff there at the actual conference. We're gonna have cooking with Cutco cookware for everyone who's over 10K. So we'll actually have live cooking and using it, so you guys can see how that rolls.
Spud. What Spud? Hey, how come you didn't tell me you were going fishing?
You're not here when I go.
Well, maybe I wouldn't want to go. You ever think of that?
You karate training.
I'm what? I'm beating you goddamn slaves is what I'm being, man. Now, we made a deal here.
So,
So you're supposed to teach and I'm supposed to learn, remember? For 4 days, I've been busting my ass every one goddamn thing.
you learn plenty.
I learned plenty. I learned how to sand your decks, maybe. I wax your car, paint your house, paint your fence. I learned plenty, right?
Not everything is as seen.
Oh, bullshit. I'm going home, man.
Daniel-san! Daniel-san!
What?
Come here. Show me sand the floor.
I can't move my arm, all right? What are you doing?
It's one of my favorite
Ow!
movies of all time, by the way. The original. Correct.
Ow, what are you doing?
Now show me sand the floor.
How did you do that?
Shut up!
Sand the floor.
Hey, stand up. Show me sand the floor. Sand the floor. Sand the floor. Big sucker. Sand the floor. Sand the floor. Now show me wax on, wax off. Hey.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. Hey, wax on, hat. Wax off. Concentrate. Look at my eye. Lock the hand. Thumb inside. Wax on, hat. Wax off. Wax on, hat. Wax off, hat. Wax on. Wax off. Show me paint the fence. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Other side. Look eye. Always look eye. Show me paint the house. Side, side. Back wrist. Side, side. Side, side. Show me wax on, wax off. Cat! 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 Show me paint the fence. Cat! Face! Back! Back! Show me side to side. Yes! That! 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 Show me sand the floor. Cat! Face! 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 Yes! Start! Wait. Look, I always look, I come back tomorrow.
What do you guys gather for any takeaways from watching that? And it's such a simple lesson, but such a powerful thing in our lives to remember that, you know. And that's one of the things I love about this job is it really does bring real life into your face, and you deal with a lot of different things, and you deal with rejection or people saying no. You deal with you know, on the phones, and sometimes you're just like, oh, this is selling knives, you know. And I'm like, there are so many skills that you're learning here that you don't even realize, and that 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years from now, you look back and you're like, holy crap, like all the things that you learned that are directly being applied to your life. And I really encourage you guys, as we go through this process, as we're going through Alliance, as we're going through this summer, whatever your goals may be, to just keep learning, keep growing. And you guys don't know, I've been here 13 years. And I've met people who've been here a lot longer, and just looking back and just seeing my guys who were 17, 13 years ago, and now are 30 years old and have their businesses and, you know, married with kids, or worked with me 8 years ago, you know, and just seeing where they're, and like, man, I just had no idea. You know, I got an email the other day from one of my top guys back in Miami, and he's someone that definitely gave me a little bit of a headache sometimes. And even he was accepted for our entrepreneurship branch program, ran his own office, and he was just like, yeah, he was just a pain in the butt, you know. And he's like, yeah, I don't, you know, maybe I should have just sold for the summer, you know. And he was a really, really big sales rep and did not wasn't as successful as he expected to be with running his branch office. And I said, you don't even understand what you just learned. I mean, you just received a master's in entrepreneurship in like 3 months. I said, you'll really get it later, just wait, you know. And he wrote me, now he worked for me 5 years ago, and I literally got an email like 2 weeks ago, and he, in the email, he was just like, Kathy, I just wanted to reach out. I hope you're doing amazing in Texas, and wrote me this whole long thing, just basically like apologizing for being a little punk back when he was in college, recognizing all the things. And he's like, I had no idea. And he's like, he's in his master's program now. And he's like, I applied to grad schools I had no business applying for. And I did not have the qualifications online that I needed to even apply, you know, but I did anyway, some of the best schools in the nation. And he's like, I got accepted for everyone. I got letters, and in my interviews with the schools, they were just blown away by what I had done as a sales rep, what I had done moving into management, being an assistant manager, running my own business at age 20, and they were just blown away. And they knew that I was someone that was disciplined and driven. He's like, and he listed off all this, like, all the stuff you told us over and over again. We're like, yeah, whatever, you know. But I just didn't even realize what an impact it had. And he like wrote this whole long thing, but it was really awesome to read that. I was like, all right, we'll catch up soon. But you guys might not realize it now, but again, there's a lot of growth through this process. So we've got